Cup, we just talked all about it a few minutes ago. It's underway, of course, and one of the favorites again this year is Brazil, and I mean again, because they've won 5 World Cups in the past. This year, though, they've added some special technology to help finish first. 9 News medical expert Dr. Coley here to talk about this special technology. It's actually a sensor-packed smart vest. Players wearing these smart vests, what exactly do these smart vests provide?
You know, Drew, it's funny. I'm surprised we haven't had this kind of technology in sports yet, because we're tracking everything with wearables. So essentially a vest that sits close to your chest. It tracks, of course, the basics like your heart rate, your position, but it also tracks metrics like acceleration, deceleration, if you're moving in a certain direction, and then, of course, total distance traveled. So what this allows us to do from a medical perspective is to calculate a metric called player load. So the way to think about player load is if you take your car and you go 10 miles, you know, 10 miles in traffic that's not bad is no stress on your car. But 10 miles in stop and go traffic, acceleration, deceleration, puts a lot of mechanical stress on your car. So this actually incorporates all those metrics to see how much stress are we putting, how much work are the players' bodies doing.
You know, this is interesting. I know nothing about these vests. You're educating me this morning, but I will tell you, like in baseball, they always talk about the load on a pitcher's arm. Now, if you're in a game where you have like a 9-0 lead, those pitches aren't that intense. You've got a lot of comfort level right there. But if you're in a game for 9 innings where the lead is always like 1 run, every pitch is intense, and so that player load sort of picks up a bit.
Very much so. And in fact, if you think about it, this really should be part of the strategy that the coaches use, right? Because it doesn't just tell you a single player's load, it tells you the player load comparative to each other. So let's say the game is going into overtime. How much load are you getting versus somebody else getting? And that could strategically say, who do you need to rotate out? Who needs rest? Who's getting burned out? And even the positioning relative to each other tells you essentially how much work a player has done during the game.
I'm hoping you can speak to this because I read that one of the players on Brazil was nearly benched because his player load was too low.
That's right.
What was the situation there?
Yep, so they tracked 3.7 miles, which is not a lot of miles, and it flagged because it was very far from what the other players were tracking on their vests.
He wasn't carrying his weight on the field.
Well, that's what they thought, but this is where the vest can go wrong, and that's why it's really important to have human oversight on these vests, because he wasn't moving a lot, but then they reviewed the videos of the game, and they saw that he was in a tactical position every time. So obviously when you're in a tactical position, you may be standing, you're not necessarily moving, so you're not having that much load, but you're still playing a really important role. So it's really important, I think, to integrate the 2 types of data, because you don't want to bench somebody who's blocking the goal every single time just because they're not moving.
He happened to be in the right spot every time. He knew where to be. He didn't have to run over there at the last second.
That's exactly right.
I guess this is more of an opinion from you. Do you think AI is really going to start to play more of a role in sports moving forward? I have to believe it is.
I think it should. And I think that FIFA is already thinking about incorporating some AI metrics. But for me as a physician, I think that we're missing a great opportunity for injury prevention here. Because I told you they track heart rates, they track player load or kind of stress on the player's body. So this is a great way to know when players might be getting burned out or about to get injured. Even if you see a heart rate metric, for example, go up more dramatically than it should, maybe the player is starting to get sick. Maybe they're dehydrated. Maybe they need to take a little break. So I think that if we're going to play better and smarter, it's really going to be the combination of AI helping us with strategy, but also these types of tools helping us to keep players safe and keep them healthy. And I think they need to start being incorporated into more different types of sports, especially contact sports too. Because when we're talking about load on a player's body, we've talked about CTE and head trauma before and smart helmets. These types of tools, I think, are invaluable to keeping our team safe.
I was very excited to see this topic on the board for your subject matter today. Very cool and interesting topic. Before we let you go, Dr. Coley, prediction. The U.S. is playing Australia this afternoon. Who's going to win?
Oh, hands down the U.S., Drew. That's not even a question.
That's called a softball. Giving you a softball on this Friday morning.
That's right. It's going to be us.
Dr. Coley, thanks for joining us.